Welcome to our today's webinar, and we are pleased to present you the latest improvement in IDEA StatiCa, and we will show you the highlights of version 25.1. This version was released in October, so it's been here for like about 2 weeks right now. Right now, it's the official announcement to Asian and Pacific market from Singapore. Just quick introduction of the presenters today. My name is Jan, and I serve as a regional director of IDEA StatiCa Asia Pacific. And I have two colleagues with me here, Jean and Stefano, product engineers. And we are happy to show you what's been improved in the last development cycle. The agenda is pretty packed, so let's jump into it. Before we start with presenting, just a reminder for those of you who are familiar with our webinars, you can just go here and type any questions. Feel free to comment, ask, share your insights, whatever is relevant. We are happy to answer your questions during the webinar, and some of them we will pick at the end and ask. I'll try to answer for the whole audience. So I'm happy to see your comments and questions here. What's the agenda for today? So we picked the highlights we believe are the most impactful for structural engineers' daily work. So first part would be dedicated to anchoring and especially anchoring workflows. We have major updates in both connection and detail application and the interoperability of those two applications. Then we will show you the first beam link from final element analysis to IDEA StatiCa detail for wall design. It's ETABS to detailing. We also are covering some new use cases for concrete. And also we have major improvements in Checkbot workflows. So we are getting towards our goal, how to design all connections in IDEA StatiCa, not only the complex one. And last but not least, we will mention some other still improvements. So this is the agenda for today. And before we start, I would like to ask you a quick question, whether you've already downloaded and installed and start testing IDEA StatiCa version 25.1. As I mentioned, it's been released 2 weeks ago. So it will be good to see how's the adoption of the latest version. All right, so the poll is running. 56% of you have voted. So I would like to ask the others as well. And I will close the poll in 10 seconds. So please share with us. All right, so I'm closing the poll right now, and let's see the results. So 40% already using it, 46% will do it shortly. I believe just after this webinar, you will just go and download and start using it because there is a lot of new improvements, and a few of you don't have either the access to the latest version or access to IDEA StatiCa at all. Okay, good. Thanks for sharing this. Okay, and I will pass it to my colleague Stefano, who will show you the improvements in anchoring. So Stefano, it's yours now.
Yep, thank you, Jan. And I will turn off my camera first, and let me share my screen. Okay, yep. Okay, cool. Hopefully, yeah, you all can see my screen now. So yeah, as Jan has mentioned, there are a few of improvement in the anchoring side. So as you know, in anchoring, we have it in both steel application, which is in connection, and we have it also in our concrete application, which is in detail. Now I'm going to start talking about improvement of anchoring inside our connection application. Right. So first of all, we are trying to do unification between these two software, steel and steel connection and concrete detail. We are trying to unify the materials, the anchor types, and of course also the settings. And if you have tried upgrading to version 25.1, you will see that there's now an option to choose the installation process, which is post-install or cast-in plate. So the post-installed adhesive has been available since version 25.0. But now in cast-in place, we have several new anchors. Some of them is a headed stud and a reinforcement with the L shape. For the headed stud, it's based on Eurocode 192.4, and the material is according to this ISO 13918, which means the material available will be SD1 and SD2. And for reinforcement is currently only L shape in connection application, and the material is according to Eurocode 1992. And then we have added these features of multi-surface anchoring because we see that in our help desk and also when talking to the users of IDEA StatiCa, they want to have this multi-surface anchoring. So now no more workaround is needed to model this anchor. So what you will have in connection application, you will be able to check the steel part directly. And then for the concrete part, of course, because this is a multi-phase, then you can export the RC part into our detailed application. And then there you can add the rebar to do the check for the concrete part. Next, we have added what we call Open General Anchor Database. So what does it do? Basically, if manufacturers or anyone would like to import a custom anchor based on the custom property, according to the manufacturers, you can now easily do this using a JSON file, which then you can import into IDEA StatiCa collection. So yeah, what's the benefit of this? Basically, if you are designing with some anchor manufacturing and you would like to have the anchor inside IDEA StatiCa, you can help us by talking to them and asking them to provide us with this JSON file, in which then you can import to IDEA StatiCa and then you can design your anchor based on the manufacturer material directly inside IDEA StatiCa. So there's no more other application needed for this anchor. So yeah, basically if you want to use the general anchor, you just change the type to general anchor, and then from there you can select the general anchor you have imported. Next, we have added Indian standard in connection application. As you can see in 25.0, anchor was not calculated in Indian standard and now is calculated in 25.1 based on Indian standard 1946. Right, so that's all the improvement in the connection application. Now I'm going to talk about the improvement in anchoring inside detail application. So same as before, we have new types of anchors, such as header stud and a washer plate like this, and then we can also change the shape. So let's go one by one in detail. For the new cast-in place type, is a reinforcement bar. You can change the shape from straight L shape or U shape, and then based on that, the bond strength will be automatically calculated. The use cases for this is a facade panel, handrail, and beam to wall anchoring. Second cast in place that we have added is a washer plate anchors. This will be frictionless on the shank, right? And then the load will be transferred via the contact on the washer plate. The use cases for this one is usually base plate anchoring of heavy frames or beam, and also precast connection like precast RC beam connection like you see in the picture here. Next one, we have headed studs anchors. It's also a frictionless or smooth on the shank. The use case for this is usually a seismic anchorage, bridge bearing, and beam to wall connection, as you can see. All right, so that's all for the cast in place. Now is for the post installed. We can now input a reinforcement bar and threaded rod with anchor. And user can define the bond strength using this property over here. So that's all for the anchor types. And now is the base plate arrangement. We have allowed a wide selection of base plate arrangement for enhanced use case, so you can cover more projects. Yeah, as you can see here, mortar joint with nuts on the top and bottom gap. We have direct and mortar joints with nuts from the top only, right? And then we also can change the connection between the base plate and the anchor itself, which is hinge or fixed. This will affect the shear resistance design or assessment. And then we also have allowed this so-called stub for loading. So if you tried our detailed application in version 25.1, if you would like to put a force, like internal force from your column directly to our base plate, you will have to put like a concentrated force like this, and you have put a significantly rigid base plate to allow the load to be distributed. But now you don't need to do it anymore, because in version 25.1, you can just put in your section of your, let's say your column section, and then put in the internal forces. Then what will happen is that this stub will actually help you redistribute the load so it's become more realistic. So you don't need to do this walk around with a rigid base plate anymore. Now you just select the correct section and put in the force. Next, we have a reference to LCS. You will see it more clearly in the video later, but basically we can move now the base plate based on the center of this stump, which is more intuitive for the engineers. Next, we have a rainbow outputs with the custom limits. So as you can see on this one without the custom limits, right, you can see the detail is not very clear, like the detail of the stresses. But here on the right side, you can see the custom limit from -MPa to +5 MPa. Then you can see more detail on your stress contour. And you can now select whether a rainbow or red, blue color scheme for your rebar stress output. Then we also allow user to only show some rebar that they would like to see. So if you turn off the rebars here, and then you click which rebar you would like to see the stresses, so you can hide all the other rebars. It gives you a more clarity on what is the actual stresses on your rebar that you would like to check. So this is the video just to show what features we have. And as you can see, there's a new design code for Australia. And yeah. So yeah, there's also this new material C28 and C32, which is commonly used in Singapore and Malaysia. Then yeah, you can see this is our base plate. And then now for the position, I would like to show you this one. As you can see, it's related to the center point. So if you move it, right, then it will be X position will be measured against the center point. You can move the stub only, or you can move the whole stub plus the base plate related to the center point. Then for the anchor type, let's see what we have added. For the cast in place first, yeah, you can put in the reinforcement, and then we have this option of a cutting thread, as I mentioned, changing the connectivity between the anchor and the base plate. Same with the washer plate, you can also select whether you do cut thread or not. And yeah, as you can see, this is the material. And for the headed stud, you can also the same thing with the connectivity on the base plate, and the material is of course based on ST1 and ST2, as I mentioned in the beginning. And moving on to the post-installed, the same thing, cut thread. You can change to reinforcement as well. Then now let's move on to the check result part. But before that, let's see the setting. We have added a lot of new chapter from Eurocode because of this new anchors being implemented. Means we have to go to add in another chapter of the Eurocodes. And now let's see the result. Now we have this so-called custom limit, as I mentioned. So yeah, you can more clearly see the stresses range that you would like to investigate. And then for the stresses of the rebar, as I mentioned, if you click the rebar, only those rebar will be shown on your screen. So it'll be easier for you to see, to inspect the stresses inside your rebar. Okay, so that's all from me. I hand over back to you, Jan.
Thanks, Steph. Just take the presentation back. Thank you for showing us the latest improvement for anchoring. So I would like to just mention that we see anchoring as a it's a very common issue for engineers. There are many situations when standard approach doesn't work, like anchoring close to the edge of the concrete or high tensile forces. So IDEA StatiCa provides solution for this. So if you are facing these situations, just feel free to test it or try it if you have it already in your license. And just to summarize, so what are the new options? So right now we provide you the casting plates as well, like new fastener types like studs. We offer new base plate arrangements like gaps, mortar joints, anchoring from multiple sides. Very important to mention is the support of the codes. Steph demonstrated on Eurocode, but we are supporting also AISC and ACI for detailed 3D American codes, and for Australia AS 3600 as well. So this anchoring workflow is available for users of all three code families, let's say. Also, we are adding more detail connection to detail export options. So in overall, there should not be no more struggles with anchoring designs. As I mentioned at the beginning, feel free to try it. There is a lot of situations for engineers where they are struggling. And here you can see the quick overview. What are we supporting right now? So you can see the types of anchors. You can also see the three groups of application connection and detail, and in the middle is the compatibility, which means you can export it. So the recommended workflow is go to the connection application. If everything works fine, job done. If it doesn't work, you can export it to detailed 3D. Our ambition is to make all these checkbox ticked, but we just don't want to wait until everything is ready, because development takes some time. So this is what we support right now, and we will add more and more in next development. So stay tuned, and if you don't see the interoperability right now there, no worries. You can model almost everything right now in detailed 3D. So that was my summary about the anchoring, and I would like to ask Stefano again to show you another major improvement, which is the beam link from ETABS to detail, which is very useful if you are checking and designing the walls like shear walls, transfer walls, splandrels, all the 2D elements in ETABS. Steph will tell you more about that.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Jan. Let me show my screen again. Okay. So yeah, I'm very excited to share this news for you all. So we finally added this new workflow, a brand new workflow for design of critical concrete walls. So now what you can do is you can export from ETABS for those walls which are quite complex, have a lot of openings, and you are not sure how to design it in ETABS. This new workflow allows you to export this seamlessly with the geometry, material, thickness, and of course the forces directly into IDEA StatiCa detail. So what was the pain that we heard from the engineers using ETABS, right? Let's say you have a wall in global FEA model, and the wall is, well, it's quite confusing, quite hard to design by hand, So what is the option, So you can first, people will say check inside the global FEA, which is ETABS, but it's quite dangerous because it's neglecting the compression softening effect. So just an illustration, if you see here, the principal stresses is actually less than the design capacity, but is it really okay? You are not very sure. But if you bring it to detail, then you can see that the wall is actually failing. Next, we have a manual calculation, which is, strut and tie, which is a very good method, or Excel, or maybe estimate rebar using stresses. Well, there are a lot of trial and error included in these methods. Of course, it's time consuming, and there's no SLS result, such as crack width, which is quite an important result. Or option C, maybe you can model from scratch in detail, which is what people is doing before we have this workflow. Of course, it will be time consuming because you will have to see what is the force to import again, create the geometry, blah blah blah, and of course it's prone to error. So the solution now with this workflow, let's say you have a wall in global FEM model in ETABS more specifically, we have this streamlined workflow to easily transfer the geometry and the forces directly into IDEA StatiCa detail. And in IDEA StatiCa detail, you can design the reinforcement, then do a safe ULS and of course the SLS check to make sure those crack width is still within the limit. So this is basically the workflow. You create a model in ETABS, you run the analysis, you import to our IDEA StatiCa detail checkbot. Then you export the detail 2D and you can see that all the forces is transferred automatically. You put in your rebar and then you just run the analysis. So this is how it works. You have these walls in ETABS with some openings. Yeah, and you can see that I also put in some horizontal loads to for testing and to simulate how the workflow is working, and also combined with some vertical forces such as live and dead load, and of course some load combinations. Then yeah, as you can see here, all the cases I have run the analysis for. Then I just open Checkbot from ETABS using our plugin. And you can see here, don't forget to change the project type to concrete because we are designing a concrete wall, and just click create project. And in version 25.1, you can see that there's this new button, wall and detail, which you don't see previously. Then you go back to ETABS, select the wall you would like to import, then click this wall button to import to Checkbot. Right, so in Checkbot now, you can see that the thickness, the material is automatically brought over from ETABS imported. And then, yeah, you can see all the load cases and the load combo is all there. Automatically transferred over. Then you can also change the type to SLS here, because in ETABS you are not able to define whether this is a ULS or SLS. So if you want to start, you just click this detail button and then select the wall that you would like to send over to detail. Then you have this option to merge wall. If you select this, then the wall will merge into one entity inside detail. You click export. And then just save it in whichever folder you would like to save. But if I turn off this merge wall, it will be in the separate entities. But what if I would like to merge the wall but with different thickness, right? Create a detailed project with different thickness. If you select merge wall for this different thickness, what you will see is that, you'll see that there's this information that only the walls that have the same thickness will be merged. Anyway, now let's see the bottom wall that we have merged. So as you can see here, all the load are automatically transferred. This will include point load from the mesh and also the surface load, which is the self-weight. Yeah, this surface load is the self-weight of the wall, which is automatically calculated from the material and the thickness from ETABS. same with the live load. You can also see these internal forces of the wall, and for the horizontal, you can see how there's this sort of a moment rotating the whole wall. And the load combination, of course, is automatically transferred again into detail from ETABS. Then, as you can see, there's this error because we don't have a support yet. Just add the support. Then, yeah, we just select the reinforcement. I put in the wire fabric. Of course, you can change the diameter and the distances. Then I put in some detail for the openings here. Then I just click calculate, and yeah, you can see the result here. All the stresses and the stresses of the concrete, and of course the stresses of the reinforcement as well. Right, so that's a short demonstration. And supported apps is ETABS and also SAP 2000, the CSI family, and the supported application is a supported code is Eurocode, ACI, and Australian code. Now, yeah, there's still some limitations to this link. There's no out of plane loads because, yeah, if you're talking about shear wall, normally the loads will be in plane, not out of plane. Then wall element in one plane only. Uniform thickness of wall elements, because if you have different one, then you cannot merge it. And then load steps from ETABS are not implemented, so not imported. You have to separate it into multiple cases. Okay, so yeah, that's all from me. I would like to hand over to my colleague, Jean.
All right, thank you for that, Steph. So I will take the screen for now, and I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay, so I think it's okay. So before I start, all right, now we have here. So let's now discuss what are the improvements for concrete application. So we have like molded tendons. If you are doing projects like, for example, retrofitting or strengthening of existing structures, in detail 2D, we now support unbounded tendons. This covers codes like Eurocodes, ACI, and Australian codes. Basically, this enables the retrofitting, strengthening, and if you have also new pre-stressing members, this will basically simplify the execution and the adjustable of the tendons. So basically, in terms of outputs, this aligns with our bonded logic, and this one skipping the anchorage and the compression checks, and thereby allowing us engineers to handle complex reinforcements efficiently and can possibly also bring new life to our beloved existing structures. So also another improvement in detail 2D and as well as in detail 3D, that it now fully support smooth rebars. Previously this is not available, now we have it, and it is also covered under Eurocode, American codes, and also in Australian codes. So engineers can now accurately model some existing structures, accounting for the reduced bonded and also anchorage. So the crack behavior here in serviceability limit states, which is in detail 2D, and which also covers for ultimate limit states under detail 3D. So this ensures our reliability in the calculations for retrofitting and stress strengthening, as well as assessment of buildings or bridges, as well as precast elements. And this actually expands the use of our detail applications, not just for new constructions, but also for renovations and also for rehabilitation projects. And aside from that, we have some regional improvements. Detail 3D now fully supports Australian standard anchorings, AS3600. So as well as in detail 2D, AS3600 is also implemented in pre-stressing. So the engineers can now design local materials based on this codes and ensure that it is code compliant according to the results. And we also have plenty of requests within the region to include concrete grade C2835 and also C3240. So we have now added this in the application only for Eurocode. So you can now, if you are using this kind of concrete grade, you can now include this in your projects. No, you don't have to manually edit the existing concrete grade. So that's basically. So before I proceed with the new Checkbot application workflow, I'd like to pass to Jan first to summarize what are the improvements. Jan?
Thanks, Gene. Can you just move the slide, please? So it's just one summary slide. I will not take over.
All right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this. So from my perspective, the biggest improvements is definitely the new workflow between ETABS and IDEA StatiCa detail. It's worth to mention it's our first beam link to IDEA StatiCa detail for walls. And I would like to thank also Stefan, not only for presenting this, but he was also an important team member when developing this feature. So I'm happy to hear your feedback, add to the comments. What do you think about this? What are the use cases you can cover with this? Also, I would like to mention these new use cases which are now covered, retrofitting and strengthening. It's more and more common that engineers need to reassess existing structures. So now we have multiple options for this. And last but not least is the code support. As I already mentioned a couple of times, we fully support Eurocode. Sorry, this should be ACI here, typo, and Australian standard. Yeah, so European codes, American codes, and Australian codes are fully supported. But we want to implement more codes in next patches and releases. So stay tuned, and we will add more codes. If there is any particular code you would like to have implemented, again, add it to the questions, comments. We are happy to evaluate. So thank you for this. And now, Gene, I would like to ask you to continue with this Checkbot workflows and still improvements.
Okay, thanks, Jan. So let me let's now discuss what's new in the Checkbot workflow in Beam. Okay, so for the benefits of those who join us that is not familiar with the application, I just want to briefly discuss about Checkbot application. Checkbot is actually, it acts like a hub for all your global analytical FAA model or your CAD model. No? You can export these models to Checkbot applications, and once exported, the tractor geometry will be exported automatically. So it copies everything, the shape of the steel profile, the linear loading combinations, and as a result, it's captured inside the application. So it automatically arranges the joints according to the group as well. And when you design the joint connections by modeling it with the required manufacturing operations, you can then run the analysis using bulk calculations, and also you can also generate bulk report for all the connections. No? And if in case you want to verify further for the anchoring, you can also export it directly to detail 3D for verification, which includes the reinforcement, of course, for the concrete block. And also in Checkbot, you also have the possibility to generate either a single IFC file or a bulk IFC files, which you can later use as a reference for your beam models. So later you can your CAD model or beam detailers, you can make use of it directly. So you no longer have to do some hand sketches, because sometimes designers do some hand sketches just for their beam detailers to do it. No? So it's a huge time saving for us basically. And another couple of improvements in version 25.1 that I wanted to share is that there is a new settings for bulk report for all connections, where in the report tab, there is now a new tree list for connections in the project. No? This actually is now unified report settings, and with these settings, generation time it's very much quicker than before. It's actually doubles the quickness. And so now I'm going to play a simple demonstration video. This one is a skill structure where you can see that there's a couple of groups that have already been analyzed and calculated. And in the project info, we can set the name and number. Also in the user paragraph, you can write down more info related to your projects. You can also turn on and turn off software info. And if I select connection tree, I can also control which connection I could show the report by just toggling with the selections. I can possibly select all or select only a certain group or just a specific connections in the selection tree. So from there, you can also turn on and turn off the theoretical backgrounds if you don't want it. And for a group of connections, I can now define the user paragraph, another text info, and another picture as well. And similar to the connection app, you can also add in the report some explanations and turn on and off, turn off the code settings. So once you had selected either brief or a detailed report, in this one we hit generate some big detailed report. You can now see in the user paragraph that we just added what we have included in the user paragraph. Previously it's not available. Now everything is added with all your. So here you can also navigate to the generated report by clicking on the tree list. No? So once you click on certain nodes on the tree list, it will transfer directly to which specific connection has been assigned. And after that, if you are now okay, you can also navigate to the generated report by clicking on whether to save it in a PDF format or a Word document format. Right, so what you have seen, these settings are now also embedded in the general public settings, general project settings, so of the whole IDEA StatiCa environment. So this also applies not just for the connection for the Checkbot application, but also applies to your connection application as a default format in the report. So another improvement is the alignment of members that we bring into version 25.1. There is basically new area selections, which enables you to select multiple members at once. And then once you have selected this, you can actually set some eccentricities for the whole members or a specific member of the group, and you can align it based on global or local coordinate system. For example, if you want to align it for top of steel, you can also do that. So let me just share a little bit of this. We take a look into this and see how does this work. I have here a very simple steel frame where all members are set from the global FEA. Here we can see that we have to make some offset, and these offsets sometimes are according to the neutral axis or to the center of gravity. And if we want to make some adjustment, because sometimes we have to do that, and what we can possibly do is just select what is required to be offset here, and we're trying to remove some diagonal members and try to offset by changing the insertion point. So here, for example, here we change the insertion point to top, and not only that, we can also provide with some eccentricity. This example, I added 100, there. So you don't have to do it one by one, basically. So it's basically time saving for us as well. And once you open it in a connection application, you can see that all the members that you have just adjusted, it's now perfectly aligned based on the adjustment that you specified. So here you can see that it's already at the top of the beams, or the top of the steel. Right, so another improvement in version 25.1 is that we are now able to perform buckling analysis for the whole group or for the entire projects just within Checkbot. So this will now further saves you more time because you don't have to go through every single connections just to analyze buckling itself, but instead you just have to select from the group of connections, and you can perform buckling should you need to perform it. And of course, when you display the result, the lowest load factor would be the displayed in the outcome of the analysis. So, and one of the other features that I really like the most is that in Checkbot, we now have added this progress bar in which you have the options to hit cancel if in case you did something wrong. So you don't have to wait for the whole calculations or analysis to complete. So from here, the progress bar, you can see that, okay, I missed something. I want to cancel it. So here you can cancel it directly at any time. And if you, there's also another options that we have also implemented is that when you try to update your loadings, you don't have to update it manually, no? So the synchronization will be automatically updated in the background, not manually, because sometimes it can be confusing that, okay, did I update it or not? And sometimes we try to forget that, okay, I forgot to update my loading. So this time it's now automatically updated in the background. So steel improvement, now let's try to discuss particularly for steel applications, what are the improvements? I think this has been covered by Steph previously. One of the improvements in steel is that we are now able to combine any number of parametric templates or standard templates from your connection library, as well as operations for one particular connection. So previously it's not possible to do that. Now, if you want to make use of any number of parametric templates to apply it in your specific connections, you can do so. So it basically saves you time as well with doing the modeling of your connections. For the benefits of our users using the AISC standards, WT sections has been added to the standard default sections in version 25.1. And we have also added a new seismic templates into the application. So here you can make use of the templates as well. It's good for you guys, if you have already installed, you can have a look at all these new templates. And at the same time, if you are designing anchoring according to ACI and AISC 318-25, we have already added the latest version. It is now implemented in the connection application. So now users can choose which version they wanted to use in the models, especially if you want to do some anchorings. Okay, another thing in our list is the improved connection API. We have seen a massive rise in automation. So the presentation, the connection app is now significantly improved. The positioning of the members, the weld auto design is actually now available. And with this branded new API, you can now also control the shared settings. And we have also improved the generation of report, which now includes the buckling results. And lastly, one of the most popular as well, and the one I like, is the project code conversions, which now enables you to convert your projects from Eurocode to any available codes. And another improvement is still is that you can now save to MPRL library a custom steel sections. Previously, it's not possible. You have to redo it every time you create one. Now you can use it to every new projects using different codes. You do not have to recreate it every time. Once you save it, it will always be there. It will now save into your application itself once you install it. So that's basically for me. I will give this back to Jan to summarize this. Jan?
Thank you, Gene. Let me take the presenter back. All right, so thank you for your presentation about Checkbot workflow and steel. So what are the major improvements? I would say the whole Checkbot environment, there's a big progress. So as we mentioned, like we want our users to be able to check all connections, not only the complex connections, because typically I would say many of you purchase IDEA StatiCa because of the complex connections. You maybe still keep your own spreadsheets or some older software. But right now, with all the features, how to connect with other third-party tools like finite element analysis tool or catch tools, bulk calculation, bulk reports, synchronization, backlink checks, and everything, we believe that you can be much more efficient if you design all connections in IDEA StatiCa, especially in situations when you need to change something. From my engineering experience, it happened quite often that there was a change in loading in the middle of the work, and I need to redo manually all the checks. So this shouldn't be an issue anymore with IDEA StatiCa Checkbot. So there were some questions about the Checkbot. Feel free to test it. We support almost every finite element analysis software, so you can import it from multiple tools. Second big upgrade is this parametric templates update. So having an option combining multiple parametric templates can be very useful if you have non-standard configuration in terms of members, number of incoming beams to a column, etc. And I personally like this improvement about general sections. Many users were asking for this, especially from segments like pre-engineered buildings. When you use your custom sections, it was not in the library. Now it's there, and it boosts your Checkbot workflow as well. So feel free to test it. And I would like to ask you for a feedback. We showed you multiple new features and workflows, and I would like to hear from you. Which one do you find most useful for you? So I'm launching the poll, and I would be happy to hear your feedback. Okay. Okay, 26% voted. Please click more so we would know what should we communicate, what materials we should prepare, where's the biggest demand, because we just released it and still there's a lot of work to do for us to provide you the content, the manuals and use cases. Okay, so I will give you last 10 seconds. If only 55% voted, please, more votes. I need more votes. Don't be shy, tell us. Okay, and I'm closing the poll right now, and let me share the results. So it seems there is a kind of draw. So the winner is anchoring 41%, and then the Checkbot workflows 39%. The third is 14% ETABS workflow. It's for 2D wall design. Thank you for this. Thank you for sharing your feedback with us, and we will definitely consider this next steps what we are doing for our users. All right. So what happened next? Right now, you can just either go and download the trial version if you don't have an access to IDEA StatiCa right now. So on our web, on the right top corner, you can see a trial. Or if you are a user, you just go to our product downloads and download and install the latest version. If you want to see any real life demo, how it works, and you want to discuss it, whether IDEA StatiCa is suitable for your specific use cases, you can request a demo. And the full news you can find in our release notes. Everything is here in support and learning. So feel free to go there and check it out. And I also have one last poll because we are preparing the next webinars. We actually prepared some for this year, but we will have another one next year as well. So we would like to know what you would like to see in the next webinar, what we should focus more, and we will then consider it. So please share it with us quickly. And I would like to ask in the meanwhile my colleagues Jean and Stefano to go through the questions, or whether there is something interesting we would like to share with the whole audience, because our webinar is will be over soon. So just last 10 seconds, please share with us what you want to see.
Yep. Actually, there's one question as well. For someone asked that whether it is only possible with ETABS for the beam link. And
Okay.
another follow-up for that is basically whether the question stands for Checkbot and also for ETABS beam link. So
we will cover it shortly. First, I will just share the results of this poll. So the most of you want to see the anchoring 39%, and then it's pretty similar results, beam interoperability and concrete link. Thanks for this. And before what we are planning, we already planned these two webinars, so it's number 2 and number 3. And in terms of anchoring, we had a webinar, I think it was in June or May this year, so you should find it in the recording, but we will probably do a new one next year to show all the updates. So thank you for this, and now is the time for question and answer. So Jean, you mentioned this question about beamlink. So for all of you, there were multiple questions if it can be exported from StatPro or other software. Yes, we can export, or you can export your model from multiple third-party analysis tools. We support more than 20 right now. So I would say all the relevant third-party software here in the region or globally are supported. StatPro, SAP 2000, ETABS, MIDAS, Robot, SpaceGas. You can use all these software and much others. You can find the full list on our web. And in terms of beamlink with ETABS, right now, as was mentioned, it's only supporting ETABS and SAP 2000. But as I said, we are adding more and more. So it would be good if you can mention. So any questions, guys, you think we should mention to the whole audience? There is a question about the recording. If the recording will be shared, yes, the recording will be shared. We also put all the recordings from all webinars to our YouTube channel, so you can find other webinars as well. So all release webinars as well as use case focused webinars. So feel free to check the IDEA StatiCa YouTube channel. And there is also this anchoring webinar from June. There is a question. If this IDEA StatiCa focus more on steel connections, this is one of the biggest use cases, steel connections, but we also do concrete details, discontinuity regions, walls, shear walls with openings, generally all details in steel and concrete. Can you include Indian standards? In steel, we do include Indian standards. So yes, it's covered. In concrete, we will add it. As I said, we are adding more and more codes. This is one of our plans to implement Indian standard as well. If everything will goes well, we should have Indian standard in concrete next year. Okay, any other questions? It's quite a lot, so probably we will answer after this webinar. And we will show you more. There are some questions asking for more information about the workflows. This is why we planned the webinar. So in the webinar I mentioned, you will see more detailed workflow, and not only the workflow, but the export, but really the whole engineering thoughts and process, how to design transfer wall and how to design the whole structure using IDEA StatiCa Checkbot. All right, I think we are covering most of the questions. There are some few coming, but as we are running out of the time, then I would like to thank all of you for joining us for today's webinar. So you will receive a link with recording, so you can go back and watch the particular part you were interested. There will be also a quick poll and survey, quick survey after this webinar. So we are happy to hear your feedback. If you can rate us, how useful was this webinar? And again, if you have any suggestions for next webinar or whatever you want us to develop, feel free to use this. We are going through and checking and sharing the insights with our developers. So it's everything from my side right now, and I would like to again thank you and see you soon online or live on some events we are attending. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.